Alright, rockers, joining me now by phone, I'm very happy to have with me part of the rhythm section of Airbourne. That's right, Ryan O'Keefe, drummer of Airbourne, joining us right now here inside the ASYLUM. Ryan, how are you?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
I'm doing good. Glad to have you here with us inside the ASYLUM. You guys have a new album you're getting ready to release to the world on September 23rd, entitled Breakin Outta Hell. And I tell you what, that's some title for a new album.
Yeah, it's a good description about, I guess, what the record's about. It's about breaking out of any situation you're in and having a good time, and that's kind of what we're about.
Absolutely. Now, the one thing I want to ask, because I've listened to you guys over the years, and my friends have as well. And well, over the years, we've always said you guys reminded us a lot of ACDC, and it sounds like with the new album, Breakin Outta Hell, that you guys are still paying tribute to ACDC by showing your influences, but you're also breaking away and kind of really setting your own sound and pace on this new album as well.
Yeah, I think that's what Bob Marlette, he's the producer. We did the first record with Running Wild 10 years ago. I think that's what he drew out of the band. He definitely, he knows how to pull a lot out of the band. I know a song like Rivalry was one that he influenced us in creating, and now I couldn't imagine the record without that song. So having a great producer, and we also wanted to deliver this kind of record. A bit harder, sort of a bit faster, but very airborne,
Yeah, absolutely. And I also noticed there's also a lot of kind of bluesy work in some of the rhythm and the guitar work as well. Was that something you guys were doing intentionally when you sat down to write some of the new stuff?
Well, some of them was some riffs that we've recorded on our phones, but a bit of it came from pre-production when Bob finally landed 2 weeks before recording. And then as we were in the studio, we were ever evolving the songs and ever evolving. We I think we recorded 8 or 9, and we still felt that the album was missing a couple that weren't a part of the initial demos, and so we created them right there in the studio. And that was a real old school way of doing things, but always really a lot of fun.
Those are like taking it back to the early days and kind of grinding away at it and doing it in the studio. Something not many bands are doing with the way technology is today.
Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because I think a lot of people don't know that when you record a drum kit to tape and you do it the old school way, you lock into a studio for 2 months. Of course, it's expensive, and I understand when a lot of bands and don't can't afford it, so you've got to do everything you can. But if you can do it and you can get a studio and studio time and a good producer and engineer, I believe the results shine through in the work and in the record. And definitely with this one, the tones that Mike Fraser pulls and the sounds is comparable to some of the best. And it's very, very proud to have worked with such professionals.
Yeah, and you bring up working in a studio for this album, and this is the first album that you guys actually recorded back home in Australia at Sing Sing Studios. What made you guys decide that that's where you wanted to do this album?
Well, basically, Spine Farm signed us on recently for this record, and they didn't sign us an A&R guy. They've left the responsibility completely in our hands, and they trusted us to make this record this way. So they asked us, what do we want to do, and who do we want to do it with, and how do we want to do it? Well, we said, well, we'd love to work with Bob again, that we worked on Running Wild. Mike Fraser, as far as we're concerned, is one of the best engineers in the world, by far. We want to work with those guys, and what'd be even cooler is we've never done a record in Australia, so can we do that as well? And they were just totally up for it, which was amazing. You know, they totally backed it, and they said, yeah, let's do it, let's see what happens. And when we were in Australia, we were recording only down the road from some of the clubs we used to play over 15 years ago.
Yeah, did you get the opportunity to maybe go check out some of those clubs after all these years and kind of see what the scene has evolved into while you were there?
Well, unfortunately, one that comes to mind, Duke of Windsor, was converted to a pizza place, and another one's closed down. And it seems like the story with a lot of clubs and live venues, which is actually why what the song "It's Never Too Loud for Me" on the record is actually written about, is that kind of thing.
Oh, really? So that one goes towards those of us that are in the music world that are seeing our venues slowly disappearing.
Yeah, it's something we're a bit passionate about. We don't like seeing it. It's really unfair to see apartment blocks be built next to live venues that have been there for 40 years, and then just because a few tenants complain to a council, they end up closing them down. You know, it's not good. You know.
Yeah, no, I totally hear you on that one. We have that same situation here in the New York area. A lot of our great venues have shut down, leaving less places for the younger bands to play on their way up and to develop to a level where you are at with Airbourne, and it is a shame to see it happen. Now, you mentioned that you guys are now signed with Spine Farm, and they were very supportive of what you guys wanted to do with the new album, Breakin Outta Hell. What made Spine Farm the right home for Airbourne as you guys moved on in your careers?
Well, I guess when the option was up with Roadrunner and a lot of people had moved on from that label, we noticed a shift in Spine Farm's, I guess, approach to being a record label. They seem like they want to expand. Jonas himself, he used to be the head of the New York Roadrunner, is now heading up Spine Farm Records. So there's people at Spine Farm that we used to work with, and we feel that there's no other place for us to be right now. And as I say, the proof is in the pudding. They're already, we just recorded a film clip in Belfast for Rivalry, and it's by far the most brutal film clip we've ever recorded. And we're over the moon about the result. And so working with them already has been a blast, and it seems like we just keep kicking goals.
It's always good to hear that everyone is on the same page. Now, everyone's heard the single Breakin Outta Hell, and you guys got the video ready to go for Rivalry. And I want to talk to you a bit about the closing track on the album. It's all for rock and roll. Now, if I've read correctly, that's kind of a tribute to Lemmy and a lot of the greats that have gone over the years. What made you guys decide to write and record a newer song instead of maybe doing a cover of a song from one of those artists?
Well, I mean, with this album, we had a lot of songs we wanted to make, and a lot of things we wanted to write about. It's all a good time, but I mean, one of the songs that comes to mind that I really like is "It's All for Rock and Roll," as it's written about Lemmy, and I feel that we felt that was actually the last one written, and it was definitely something we definitely wanted to write about because he meant so much to us in our lives. So we owe a lot of our career to Lemmy, and he's definitely missed out there on the road. There's definitely a hole when you're touring Europe and there's no Motorhead on the posters anymore.
That's very true. It's hard to believe that we're living in a world without Lemmy. It kind of goes back to the old line out of Airheads, Lemmy or God. Lemmy is a God.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of thing. Well, that's great. Now, I have the album in front of me. I gotta tell you, this album cover really jumps out. Did you guys have that design in mind, or is that just what came out when the artist heard what you were doing?
Well, basically, we were working on some single artwork, and with Joel, like a photo of sort of an actual Joel coming out of the ground, and the artist we worked with, Ben Brown, did such a really good job with the single artwork that we felt we wanted to pursue it and have more of a scorched version of Joel coming out of the ground. You'll notice he's wearing a crocodile teeth. That's actually something Joel wears live on stage. And the artist did such a good job, and it was something that was so sort of captured your eye. And we were just really proud about working with Ben on that and getting that done.
Well, it's definitely a very badass album cover. It fits the title of the album very well. Breakin Outta Hell comes out on the 23rd of September, and I believe you guys even have some tour dates coming for this tour as well, for this album as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to be at the Gramercy in New York on October the 12th, and I think Baltimore Soundstage October 14th, and I think Boston, Middle East on October 11th. So we've got a bunch of US dates coming up. We're going to hit the road on the 12th of September. We'll be going all up through Canada, and yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
Very cool. I know everyone will be looking forward to seeing you and the guys out on tour. Again, Breakin Outta Hell, the new album coming out on the 23rd of September. Ryan, before I let you go, I have this single, which is the title track, and before I play it, I just wanted to ask what the backstory is. Where did Breakin Outta Hell come from, other than that party atmosphere that you guys like to bring?
Well, I mean, it's a good description of what we are and what the band is, and what we've always been about is breaking out of hell and having a good time. And funnily enough, the song title itself actually comes from some documents that I'd kept from when the band lived in the house together for 3 years, over 13 years ago. We added some old song titles. A lot of them were pretty useless, and some of them had been used, but what stuck out was Breakin Outta Hell was still written on those papers. And I walked into Joel's room and in the apartment and said, that's what we should make a song, Breakin Outta Hell. It'd be a killer album title. And then we went in the studio the next day and created it.
Oh, I love that. I tell you, that just shows that when you wrote it all those years ago, it was meant to be.
It does.
Well, I tell you what, I've heard the album, I dig it, and I can definitely say you guys have converted me. I no longer put you guys in that AC/DC clone group after hearing the new album, Breakin Outta Hell.
Thanks, mate. Thank you very much.
Very welcome, Ryan. Ryan, thank you for joining me tonight here inside the Asylum. Any words to the fans of Airbourne as they await the new album.
Just make sure you take the weekend off on September 23rd. Invite your friends around. Make sure your fridge is stocked because you're going to want to drink when you listen to this.
There you go. It doesn't get much more better than that. Ryan, thank you, and everyone check this out. The title track from the new album from Airbourne, Breakin Outta Hell.